Okay, so for those of you that have not used the print layout function in QGIS software, I'm going to go over just the very basic elements of it. It would be different if you were doing a map, but we are just creating a PDF that you can submit your land cover classification with a title and a legend. Okay, so when you're done with your land cover classification, and at the step where you'd be making taking a screenshot, I will show you how to bring that into a print layout and use QGIS as a kind of like a photo editor. So up here at the top, there's project. That's the view that we're in right here. Here's the quick icon. If you hover over it, it will tell you what it does. That's not going to do it today. This is the print layout icon. If you don't remember, you can go under project, new print layout. It has the same icon. Or you can even just do Control P. You name your print layout. In this case, I'm going to say land cover classification. And it takes you to a new window. Okay, so if I minimize this, I'm back in my QGIS. Where's that window? It's right here. So land cover classification, there's no items on it yet, it's just a blank piece of paper. If you wanted to change this from landscape orientation, you would right click on the blank white paper and you could change the page properties. I could change it to letter and portrait. So it's kind of a typical piece of paper if I wanted to do it that way. With this particular data set, it doesn't matter if you do letter or you do landscape, both layouts will work. Okay. If you had something that was oriented vertically, you'd maybe want to go with the portrait. It's a different size. If you wanted if you had a data set that was longer horizontally, you choose the page landscape size orientation. This on the left hand side are a number of icons that do different things, and I'll just point out a couple main ones. You can also use the menu bars up here, add item, add map. That's the same icon as this one here. So you can either use the menu bar up here to do things or the quick tool icon right here. So I'm going to click on add map. I'm going to get a little drag box. I'm going to drag a box in, so you click and you drag, and that sets the size for your land cover classification image. Okay. Notice how the box is very big and the image is not as small. You can resize it in two ways. You can come over to, now that we have an item on the page, we get a main properties of that item over in this panel, and you can change the scale right here, which it's at 443,321, so 1 to 443,000. By making this number smaller, I'm going to zoom in. So I'm going to make it turn it to 300,000. I kind of zoom in, I take up a little bit more. The main purpose or a guiding principle for these map layouts or print layouts is to take up as much of that white space with your actual image. Okay, so make your image as large as possible so you can really see it, and the user can get the most information out of it when it's as big as possible. Okay, I'm going to squeeze that in. When you move this map item box, it does rescale, so you'll have to come back to here and resize it. There's a quick tool for doing this, and it is this move item content tool. It allows you to move the item inside this box. So you click on the move item and I can recenter it. I can also rescale it by using my zoom on my touchpad, or if you're using a mouse, I can rescale it like that. Whenever you use this tool, in order to do something else, you have to click off of it. So after you're done with this tool, click off of it. So on this particular print layout, I'm just going to do this image. I maybe will put a title, let's see, text. There's the text right here. Add label, that's T for text. I drag a box, and I can either change the text over here, or I can double click in this space and do it. Okay, I'm going to call this land unsupervised classification land cover classes, and then give it a location. Okay. I can't remember where the location of this data set is from anymore. Just a minute. I think it's from this, yeah, it is from Washington, Idaho. Okay, so you could say land unsupervised land cover classes, Lewiston, oh my goodness, Lewiston, Idaho, Clarkston, Washington, something like that. Okay, the font is obviously very small. Let's change that right here. Okay, I would even make it bigger if I were you, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Nice big font for the title. And then the last thing I want to show you is the legend. I'm going to, this is a legend icon. I'm going to drag the box for the legend, make it nice and big. And you're not going to want every single layer legend on here, so you can remove them by clicking off auto update, and then you can either manually remove them by coming through and selecting them and removing them. So I don't want any of these items on there. I can manually select them, remove them, or you can say only show items inside linked map, which is this reclassified raster is the only thing that's being shown on here. So then it will only show the land cover legend. In the directions, you will already have modified these legend names. They won't be 1 through whatever the numbers are. You will have modified them to be actual classes. You can also modify them in the print layout. I could say crop, you know, and it would change it in here. Okay, so you can either modify them in the symbology on the project view or here in the print layout. Okay, so now we have a title, we have our map item, we moved our map item around using that move item content, rescaled it to take a lot of room up, dragged a legend in. You can add a scale bar. I tend to like to put those usually, you know, if you can give it a background so you can kind of see it a little bit. You can either put it there or beneath the map. A north arrow is usually a component of a map, so you could put a north arrow on there. Usually I make them really small. North is almost always up for images, so not always necessary. And then over here you can add another text box with information about you, the cartographer or the mapper, and the date. Okay. Another good thing to put in here is, you know, cartographer, date, and data source. So you'd want to put in the Sentinel data as the data source for this. Okay, you can even put in the classification scheme. So you could say unsupervised classification and the other elements of that. 10 classes, yada yada yada. Okay. That is the basics. Oh, one more thing. You would save it as or export as PDF, and then you would upload that PDF with your submissions. So export as PDF, and then just upload it with your Word document with the answers. Okay, you can mess around with this as much as you want, make it as fancy or as simple as you want, but that's kind of the basics of the print layout.